One new infection reported in Bracebridge. The province officially kickstarts the economy once again. And a tasty new addition is coming to Huntsville. All that and more coming up right now. Welcome to Kojiko News for May the 14th. I'm James Bowler with what's happening in your community. And to our top story, a new infection of COVID-19 has emerged in Muskoka, this time in Bracebridge. A man in his 60s is confirmed to have contracted the virus from within the community. He's currently in self-isolation. Parry Sound also confirmed a new infection of a man who had recently traveled. And as we see new infections start to crop up in this area, Doug Ford is announcing more relaxation on the economy's barriers, which is the official start to phase one of opening the economy just in time for the long weekend.
Today, we're prepared to announce the details of the next stage of reopening the economy. We're getting thousands of people back to work. We've laid a solid foundation for our economic reopening and recovery. We have the framework. We have the workplace safety guidelines. We have the capacity in our healthcare system. And today, I'm ready to announce that this Saturday at 12:01 a.m., private parks and campgrounds, marinas and boat clubs, golf courses, and businesses that board animals will be allowed to open. And on Tuesday, May the 19th, we will enter the new stage, stage one, in the reopening of our province. We can reopen retail stores with street entrants that are not located in shopping malls, with strict social distancing measures in place. Certain seasonal venues, including outdoor sports fields, tennis courts, and off-leash dog parks. Vets and other pet services, such as pet grooming by appointment only, animal shelters, household services, such as cleaning and maintenance, certain health and medical services, including scheduled surgeries and in-person counseling. We'll also lift the essential construction limits to allow all construction to resume. I want to be clear that businesses should open only if they are ready. I'll repeat that, only if they are ready. And we need to keep in mind that all of this is dependent on the numbers. The truth is, we can't fully predict where things will go. So we need to be ready to react if we see a sudden increase in cases. We cannot let our guard down now. We must watch the trends like a hawk. And we need to remember, as we ramp up more and more daily testing, as we get more and more people back to work, the risk of flare-ups is real. So we need to stay vigilant. We can't take our progress for granted. We can't ignore the health advice. We need to be ready to respond, and we will be ready. We have the capacity in our health system. We have the testing and tracing systems in place, and we will be ready to respond to any flare-ups. My friends, today's news is good news.
Meanwhile, MPP Norm Miller echoes those sentiments.
I'm really happy that for Victoria Day weekend, we have some businesses being able to reopen, particularly marinas that have kind of been in a bit of a gray area. So I'm pleased that they are now out of that gray area and are able to be fully open. And of course, golf courses will also be fully open for this Victoria Day weekend, starting at Saturday morning first thing. So that's important for all the golf courses around and for people's mental health that would like to get out and who've been cooped up for 9 weeks straight now. So pleased that that's happened. And of course, on Tuesday, there will be the stage one happening with many other businesses being able to open up, but all of course, based on health. And the good news is that today we had the lowest number of new cases. I believe it was 247. So if we keep that trend going, then we'll be able to move from stage one, which starts on Tuesday, to stage 2 and 3 and eventually have all businesses open. But, so far it's looking good, and it's because all the people in Ontario have been remembering to social distance and stay at home and follow the rules of hygiene, etc. So keep up the good work, and we'll have more businesses open, and I hope everyone enjoys and has a safe Victoria Day weekend.
And before we head to break, some good news to share. Fairvern Nursing Home recently received test results of all patients and staff within the home. All tests have come back negative for COVID-19. And as we go to break, here's another look at that wonderful thank you parade set up at Fairvern just a few weeks ago. And joining me now in studio is Mayor KARIN TERZIANO. KARIN, thanks very much for taking the time. Really appreciate you coming by. You know, we haven't really had anybody in our studio for a while, unfortunately. We are respecting the physical distancing rules still. I just want to make sure everyone knows that. You can see in the studio here, we're quite far apart. So
I appreciate we've done a couple of interviews by Zoom.
We have done by Zoom, yeah.
Really
it was
great.
quite.
But it is nice to get out and actually.
It's nice to have a person-to-person conversation again, because we're getting way too digital here, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I wanted to talk to you. Yesterday you came into studio to give us a bit of messaging about the long weekend coming up and the economy and how the town is doing. Just wanted to delve a little bit deeper with you. So as mentioned, the long weekend is coming up. And I'm not going to mix too much into the cottager message with you, because I know that's already been pushed out by the Premier. He's asking only essential travel to check on your cottages. This is not a party weekend. And yesterday you did kind of, again, reiterate that message locally. Just wanted to know, and I asked Graydon this too and Paul, what are you hoping to see happening this weekend or coming out of this weekend?
You know, basically, I'm just hoping that everybody, no matter, who you are, whether you've come up this weekend, whether you've been here for a little while, or whether you live here year-round, to just continue to practice the physical distancing, continue to do what's right, follow the rules, be respectful of each other, just be a regular Huntsville person.
Now, I do want to touch down on something very interesting. The other day this week, I had a chance to talk to Shelley Westgarth with Belly Ice Cream. Really good success story for business in Huntsville. She's seen an 800% increase in local traffic, strictly from Huntsville visitors only. And I know you've been working hard to try to support local businesses and provide that kind of, underlying net that they've been needing, because there's been so much struggle for them. So just wanted to hear your perspective again on what's happening with local business and maybe what the town is doing to help out.
Well, it's interesting, because there are some really good news stories. I've talked to a few businesses who are doing extremely well, maybe not 100% business by any means, but doing extremely well. But I've also heard from some businesses who are really struggling, really wondering where their rent's going to come from next month. So I think we have a wide range. One of the things that we just did yesterday is brought together the BIA, the Chamber, the MAP Board, our Economic Development Group, and a couple from our focus group, just to talk about where the holes were maybe going forward and what each group is doing, and if there's ways that they can come together, help each other out. So that's something that we just started yesterday. I think it was good. And the town, of course, has set aside a $500,000 COVID fund. When we do start recovery, we'll see if there's a need for those dollars and where we can spend them. But we don't have anything actually, nowhere is anything directed yet. So,
best case scenario, or what would you like to see that money being spent on moving forward? I know we're not putting this in stone, just as a disclaimer, but if it was an ideal situation for you, where would you like to see that money go?
Well, I think I've always said that with the federal government and the provincial government helping out right now, everybody should tap into those funds as much as they can. And at the end of the day, it's somebody who fell through the cracks, and that maybe the municipality can help that way. And I know our hands are tied as to what we can and can't do, but hopefully we will be able to help those folks who fell through the cracks.
How soon can we see a turnaround on something like that, to these, maybe an announcement coming out about what that money will be used for?
You know what, I think until the province starts to reopen us in a bigger way, we won't know where the need really is.
Okay. Now, I just want to talk quickly about parks, because the provincial parks are opening tomorrow, Friday, in Huntsville. The ones that are staffed, there was a bit of confusion on that announcement. So the non-operating ones, the ones without staff, open Monday. The ones with staff are opening on Friday. Locally, the parks are still closed due to the provincial order. So when do you hope, or when do you foresee us being able to kind of take a stroll in the park once again? And I'm not talking about children's equipment, because that is a big kind of risk factor, but just taking a walk in Rotary Park,
I think our parks will open in different phases. As you say, a passive park that you can go for a walk in will probably be one of the first areas to open, and I'm not sure whether that will be in the Premier Stage 1 or further down the line, but that's what we expect to see opening first. We don't expect to see playgrounds or sports fields opening anytime soon, though.
Okay. And final question in its relation to what you've got, you're sporting there right now, your lovely purple mask there.
Like that?
I really like that. It's very well stitched. There's been some discussion about, and especially from the health unit, about wearing masks and how it probably is very appropriate to be wearing masks. So I know you kind of touched down on this in your messaging yesterday. I just wanted to give you another opportunity to talk about the need to probably be wearing masks wherever you're going.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of controversy whether we should be wearing masks or shouldn't, but I think where they've kind of settled now is that wearing a mask helps to protect other people from something you might have. So I've landed on the page that it's a good idea when I go out into a store or anywhere to wear my mask. This one was made by a friend of mine, Jane Wolf, who I know has been making lots of them for the community, for healthcare offices and things like that. And I know there's another group out there that have been making thousands of them. So I think you'll be able to get them in Huntsville, and I think it's a good idea just to protect your neighbor to put your mask on when you go into any kind of a confined space.
It seems to me that, wearing a mask overall is you're blocking everything coming in. I mean, I understand the science of it's not really protecting you fully, but there's a blockade in front of your face versus not.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's probably a higher amount of protection than not having anything, right?
I don't think it can hurt.
Yeah, I agree with you. KARIN, thank you so much. I hope you have a great long weekend. I'm sure that you're looking forward to a bit of rest and relaxation for a bit during this crazy time.
Yeah, hopefully everybody has a happy and safe long weekend.
Thank you so much for coming in. We are going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back after this. Welcome back. As we head into our first May long weekend under the COVID-19 pandemic, the OPP is still prepared for an influx of traffic hitting cottage country roads.
Sergeant Jason Foles joining me now. We're going to be talking about some of the traffic, advisements that the OPP is putting out. We're heading into a long weekend, but this is a very unusual long weekend because it's a long weekend during the COVID-19 pandemic. And the province has requested that people don't travel unless it's essential. Nonetheless, I'm sure the OPP is probably still going to be out in force, keeping an eye on things. Right, Jace?
Yes, absolutely. It goes without saying that we will be out. Canada Road Safety Week started earlier this week and will continue over the long weekend. But yes, our people are going to be out in full force and looking for those big four causal factors of fatal collisions, whether that's people consuming alcohol or drugs while driving, driving aggressively, including speeding, driving distracted, whether that looks like a device or other distractions in the car, and not wearing their seatbelts. So our people will be out looking for those kind of violations and hope to reduce the incidence of fatal collisions on our roadways.
Jason, aside from doing these, these targeted campaigns, I haven't really, and maybe I'm wrong, but I haven't really seen a lot of ride campaigns going on recently. Now, is that something that maybe is still happening and I'm not seeing, or has that been sort of taken down a notch due to COVID-19 recently?
Initially, ride programs were kind of, I won't say they were reduced, but they certainly took on a new dimension because of the restrictions in COVID-19, reduced traffic, those kind of things. But we are ramping those up and doing them in a little bit different way, a little bit safer way for our people. But we are doing them nonetheless, and having reasonable results. Unfortunately, people still impaired driving.
What does a ride check look like during COVID-19 right now? Obviously there's some social distancing factored in there, correct?
The physical distancing portion, is in effect. Less likely you're going to see an officer sticking their head right inside of cars, looking for that alcohol scent or the scent of, say, cannabis inside a car. They can be done from a safer distance, and truly looking for those people who are showing signs of impairment.
So, Jason, overall, what's the message you really want to get out to people right now ahead of this long weekend?
The long weekend is going to be a busy time for our people and people in law enforcement in general. There are some new restrictions, of course, under the Emergency Measures Act that we're looking to enforce as well, and more educate as well. In addition, we will be looking to slow traffic down and make sure people get to where they're going if they choose to go out, to get there safely, and that we have no incidents of fatal collisions over this long weekend is the ultimate goal.
We're taking a quick break, but when we come back, a look at a tasty new business coming to Huntsville. Welcome back. A new business is coming to Huntsville, and it's the tastiest talk in town. Is this making you hungry? If so, the good news is you won't have to wait long to take a bite out of one of these iconic Canadian pastries. A Beaver Tails location is opening very soon in the heart of downtown Huntsville, right at the corner of Main and Brunel. What used to be an eyesore will now be a favored place to visit for both tourists and locals alike. And behind the store is Huntsville newcomer Michelle Hill. She says the location on Main Street made the decision for her.
We looked at another location down the street, but we really kind of focused on this one. Really, Beaver Tails is about location, location, location. Walking traffic, the pedestrians, kind of walking the downtown area. We also like the closeness to the high school. We thought that would be a good fit as well for kids coming down for lunch. With the water just down the street, we thought it was a perfect spot.
Hill says the original plan has been a while in the making, but the unfortunate rise of COVID-19 has led to her having to push back the original opening date, which would have been this long weekend.
Really, it's been in the works for a while. I think around maybe November or so, we really started to kind of talk to Beaver Tails and look for a location and talk to the landlord of this spot. So it's been in the works for a while. We were hoping to be open for this coming May long weekend. That was the original plan for us. When COVID hit, things kind of slowed down with construction and how things were allowed to move forward. So we're really hoping now maybe end of June, beginning of July, but again, we're going to see how things progress with the government and when we're allowed to reopen and how that's going to look.
The best news? These delicious offerings will be available year-round, and while Hill is hiring staff, she also has plans to run this as a family business.
We're going to operate this year-round. Obviously, there's a lot of people that come, during the summer months into Muskoka, but there's still a lot of traffic here throughout the winter with all of, Deerhurst around. People come skiing. There's a lot of events that happen in this downtown area all year round, so we're going to operate. Myself and my two daughters are going to kind of run the day-to-day business, but we know we're going to have to hire more people, especially in the summer months. So, yes, full-time and part-time. Maybe 4 or 5 additional people with us.
We're taking our last break, but stay tuned for Muskoka on Stage with BRIAR Summers.
While we may not be able to party it up outside this month, there's still plenty of performances to keep us entertained inside. Quarantunes from Hunters Bay Radio returns this week with Toronto musician John Brooks. Brooks's music is often characterized as literary, elusive, and emotionally intense, and difficult to categorize, born as it is from a broad range of influence and musical incarnations. Find more details on this upcoming show by going to the Hunters Bay Radio Facebook page. Make sure to catch the fabulous Angie Nussey's Facebook Live event this Thursday night at 8 p.m. It's an album release concert and fundraiser for Aurelia Soldiers Memorial Hospital Foundation. Angie is a super talented artist and a familiar face here in Muskoka. Details can be found on her Facebook page. This is a performance you don't want to miss. And get your tickets now for a very special virtual concert from Twin Flames. Twin Flames pushes the boundaries of contemporary folk with Indigenous Inuit-influenced songs that incorporate both Western and traditional instruments. Tickets are on sale now for this May 24th online concert through Huntsville Festival of the Arts, which gets you access to the private Zoom presentation. If you're still not sure about this amazing duo, here's a bit of what you can expect during the virtual show.
You've always been there all the way. You made me who I am today. You believe in me. You believe in me.
That's it for this week, but make sure to tune in again next week for some more great virtual shows.
That's Kojiko News. For more information on the program, head over to yourtv.tv or connect with us on social media by searching YourTV Muskoka. Remember to watch us live at 5 Monday to Thursday, and from everyone here at Kojiko News, thanks for watching. Stay home and stay safe.